Salam, ciao, bonjour, namaste.
Hey, bienvenidos! My name is Jed Lee. This is Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, historical, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. We are so honored and so very delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. Please join us in our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and let them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, YouTube, Audible, Amazon Music, CastBox, Player FM. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really powerful episode for you today. First up, Jackie Baker is here to share with us her new book, Messy Mourning, Hope for Mothers Grieving the Loss of a Child to Suicide. Later in the show, Paul Curley will be joining us from Germany, celebrating his camp counseling mastery book. Hey, if you are an author of a great children's book, I bet you're looking for a marketing partner, not just another award. If you're an independent children's author, you probably discovered something writing the book. That was actually the easy part. Now comes the hard part, helping readers discover it. At Reading with Your Kids, we created the Certified Great Read program because we know authors just don't need another award. They need a real marketing partner. When your book earns our Certified Great Read recognition, we don't simply send you a certificate and wish you luck. We get to work. Your book receives a thorough professional review. We post reviews on major retail sites. We create an announcement video and graphics that you can share for years. We feature a book on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We write a professional press release. We prepare social media content. We even create a personalized 30-day celebration adventure filled with simple daily missions that help you connect with bookstores, schools, libraries, parenting groups, and the communities where children's books naturally thrive. Our goal isn't simply to tell you people that your book is great. Our goal is to give you the tools to keep telling that story long after the award announcement is over. Because we believe every wonderful children's book deserves a chance to find the children whose lives it can touch. If you'd like to learn more, please visit readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page and scroll on down to Certified Great Read. We'd be honored to celebrate your story. You know, one of my favorite family memories growing up, and honestly still today, is gathering around the grill in the summertime. Good food, kids running around, laughing, maybe somebody reading on a picnic blanket while dinner cooks. There's just something magical about it. And speaking of cookouts, I want to tell you about a company our family has been enjoying called Big Fork Brands. Now, friends, this is not ordinary cookout food. Big Fork makes incredible bacon sausage, craft jerky, meat sticks, and those amazing Chicago-style sauces that instantly level up burgers, hot dogs, fries, all your cookout favorites. Their bacon sausage is kind of legendary. They combine hardwood smoked bacon with premium pork and create flavors like hickory and applewood, maple and brown sugar, and spicy 3-pepper. Honestly, it sounds fancy, but it's really just fun, delicious food families can enjoy together. And another thing I really appreciate, they work with small Iowa farms, raising heritage hogs outdoors without any antibiotics. So there's a real commitment to quality and sustainability behind everything they make. So here's my challenge to you this summer. Plan a read together cookout night. Fire up the grill. Put the phones away for a little while. Enjoy a great meal together. And end the evening reading together as a family. And to help make it happen, Big Fork Brands is giving our listeners an exclusive 20% discount. Just head on over to bigforkbrands.com and use the promo code READ at checkout. Great food, great conversation, great books. That sounds like real magic to me. Join us right now from Washington State. Our guest is here today to celebrate and I think that's the appropriate word. A new nonfiction book is called Messy Mourning, Hope for Mothers Grieving the Loss of a Child to Suicide. Please welcome to the show, Jackie Baker. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I've been looking forward to this.
If I told you I was looking forward to this, I'd be lying because
Right.
Because this is, I'm happy, I'm upbeat, we're celebrating kids' books. But the reality is, and this is something that blows me away, I think it was the second leading cause of death amongst young people is suicide.
Mm-hmm,
and
yes.
That's a horrific thought to me.
Yes. Yeah. Between the ages of 10 and 25,
Mm-hmm.
the most recent, it's dipped a little bit in the last recent statistics, but it's still the number 2 cause of death for children, 11th cause of death overall in the United States is suicide. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your story, please.
Yeah. So, I lost my son to suicide. It'll be 9 years in September. My son, Sebastian, my firstborn son, precocious, beautiful boy who, as I was telling you, we love to read. Our family, books were handed to him as soon as they were born. And so I always say it's the first book they chewed on. Thing is that they chewed on a book. And so just curious about the world, wanted to know everything. And in fact, a story about a book is my husband's family physician. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner. So of course we would have books on like anatomy and things, and I just remember my son one day, we're looking at the anatomy of the heart and he's going, well, where's the door? And I mean, well, what do you mean, where's the door? And he goes, well, where's the door when we ask Jesus in our heart? There's a door we go through. And I'm like, but there's the 4, I said, well, there's 4 chambers. There's 4 doors. And we talked about it. Another fun story about Sebastian is we were big Harry Potter fans. And so the 5th book was coming out and we were anticipatingly waiting for it when he got invited to go to Germany for the summer. And the day his flight was leaving was the day the book came out. And he was like, Mom, we have to change my flight because I need to read the book. And we tried and, there was no 2-day Amazon at that time. And so he begrudgingly went on the plane and I waited patiently for the store, Barnes & Noble, to open up at 8 a.m. But at 6 a.m, I get this phone call from Germany and my son had gotten off the plane and in the bookstore was the Harry Potter book and he bought it and he was just like, Mom, I have to tell you who the dark arts teacher is. Let me tell you. And so that tells you a little bit of a relationship between me and my son as far as wanting to know things and sharing things. And very precocious, was good at sports, good at school, and said love to read. And then about high school, things started changing. And we attribute it to depression, anxiety, as a lot of kids, all kids go through this, it's hard being a teenager, a middle schooler, isn't it? And this day and age, and we tried to do all the right things and, he made poor choices on top of his other mental health issues and eventually ended up in a rehab for mental health and drug addiction. And it was during that time he had his first suicide attempt. And we put him in a hospital and found out, he was struggling with bipolar disorders and just had manic phases and depressive phases. And we moved him to another facility. And then 5 months later, he died by suicide, had another attempt. And so he struggled and we struggled, of course, as parents, as siblings, as, to how do we get through something like this? And we did, you do. How do you? You don't get over something, but it's something you have to go through. And the longer we live on this earth, I always say, as soon as we're living, our cells are dying and then they replicate, but eventually we all live and we all die, because that's just part of the nature of life, isn't it?
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But no mother expects her child to die before her.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not the way it's supposed to be. And,
right.
My own, this is such a difficult subject. Because when my kids are younger, they're very happy and successful, adults at the moment. But that was one of the things that I dreaded, that something would happen, a car accident. And I still think about it today. What would I do if something happened to these kids that I love so much. So I'm incredibly sorry for the pain that you went through.
Thank you. Yeah.
My attitude towards Jackie and I were sharing before we hit record. We both grew up Catholic, and of course, when I was a younger person, I used to think, "Wow, that's so selfish." It's taking your own life, and it's so wrong. And then because I had kids, and because they helped me to put myself into the shoes of other people, and to kind of it being the best way to kind of imagine what they're going through, I can't make a judgment on somebody who takes their life, because I can't imagine what kind of pain they must be experiencing to make that choice.
Right. Yeah. And to make a blanket statement about, how selfish that was. I mean, I remember when my son attempted to die by suicide the first time, and being in the hospital with him. And unfortunately I said, how could you do this to me? Cause I was just, I was scared. I was frightened. He'd been missing for 24 hours and we found him. And I just remember him saying, "I'm sorry, Mom. Because I couldn't help myself. I didn't want to do this." He didn't want to do this, but I just remember, and I just apologized because I didn't mean it that way, because it wasn't about me. It's about him. But,
right.
But suicide does affect everybody that, not just immediate family, but friends and coworkers and your community. And it's, so in a way it does spread, but it is not an act of a selfish person. It's an act of someone that's desperate to be released from pain and suffering. And as a friend of mine who is works with cancer patients in Canada, and she said we need to look at mental health and depression kind of like cancer. And some people survive it and go into remission, and some people don't. And depression is not something that just goes away. It's something you try to handle or try to control. And some days are better than others, and some people can get through it, but some people can't. And sometimes, cancer succeeds in, killing the body, and we die from that. And she's like, suicide could be the ultimate end of like someone with depression. But it was an interesting way to look at it. You never thought about it that way before, as to look at it more, as part of the mental illness and not just something somebody does,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, what is it? Is there a difference between a mom losing her child to a car accident or a deadly disease, as opposed to losing a child to suicide?
Yes, there is a difference. And I just noticed it, anecdotally, but then over the years, I've seen it more often. If a child that's dying by, let's say, cancer, and you're valiantly fighting it, and the family comes around, and everybody is just so supportive, and they're going to fight this disease. And then, if the medication wasn't helpful, and then the child dies, and it's like they were a hero and they fought bravely, and and everybody looked at those parents, and there's a lot of sympathy and understanding, because this was such a hard journey. If somebody dies by an accident, and I've seen this over the years, losing not myself personally, but friends and coworkers who've lost a child traumatically, like accident, drowning or something, everybody was it's just sad, like, a life cut short, and they were so young, but you still talked about the fact that it was an accident. But when somebody dies by suicide, it's silent, because people don't know what to say, because it's awkward. You don't know what to say, and people don't know how to respond. And, it's kind of like, you don't know what to do. And so people don't say anything sometimes, or they'll say some things that they've heard, or they feel like it, but it is a difference, because there's also that shame and guilt that accompanies mothers and parents and siblings, because we should have known, right? Or if I've only did this, or if I only knew this, or I could have stopped it if I only had. And so you have a lot of unanswered questions, that you'll never know. And sometimes if somebody even wrote a suicide note, you still don't know. And so there's that lingering shame and guilt, and that and back with, if you bring it to the church, sometimes the church, there was a lot of, I call it like generational things that were taught over the years that we kind of bring along through church history that, you know, if someone died by suicide, they went to hell. So there's that unspoken, you know, you know, woo-hoo, so they must have gone to hell or something. And so, which I don't think is true at all. And I don't think the scripture supports that at all either.
Right. And the church doesn't teach that anymore.
No, yes. And I mentioned that in my book about how the Catholic Church had made, you know, changes, but it was just until the 1980s that, you know, I mean, reset, but I'm glad they've done that, you know, and they've acknowledged, you know, that this is not the case. And the Protestant churches as well are coming alongside. But for years there was so much stigma and I think that stigma still carries just because of, I want to say lack of understanding. You know, you just like, oh, that must be true. But if you read the history of it, it's not true.
Right. Yeah. So your book is offering hope for grieving moms. Where did you find hope?
My hope came from my relationship with God, with Jesus. I became a Christian. I mean, I was raised in the Catholic Church and Lutheran Church, and then, you know, had a personal relationship with God. Met me personally when I was like 15 years old, 16, and then continued to grow in my relationship with the Lord. You know, went to church, read my Bible every day, and so surrounded myself in a good community of other fellow believers who were supportive and helpful. And so when my son died, I just felt enveloped by the body of Christ who came alongside to help me and my family through this difficult journey. And I had to cling to the scriptures that I knew in my, that all the promises that God, that he said that he would be with us, he would never leave us and forsake us. And you have to go, and you just have to rest on those promises because you're going on autopilot now and you're just like, where is God in that? And why did he allow this to happen? And those are, we will all ask those questions anytime something happens, but I had to rest on the promises that God said he would be with me and he would never leave me and he would be with me no matter what. And so and I also had to remember too, I'm not God, right? I don't know the mind of God. I can't control the world. I don't know why he allowed things to happen, why he didn't let things happen, why he does let things happen. But I have to just, I find trusting in myself doesn't work because I'm not good at it, because I can't figure it out. But trusting in God has been just key to the hope that I have within me. Yeah. It's the only way I could get through it. Yeah.
If there's a person out there that's listening to this who doesn't have a faith tradition, is there hope for that person?
Yeah, there is. I mean, ultimately, I think you need to look outside yourself. And I think sometimes that people that don't have a faith tradition, we're very much looking into ourselves and it's all about me. And I find we have to get outside ourselves to allow life to continue on. I think we miss out when we just become so introspective about things that we can't enjoy the beauty that is out there, even in the midst of such darkness and pain. And I don't know if that makes sense, but you can find hope by looking outside yourself. And like things that I had to do, I had to get out every day, you know, and made myself walk. I made myself listen to books on tape. I had to look intentionally in what was beautiful and what was good and true and know that. So I think you can, in a way, get forward that way, you know, and that's just the beginning. And then hopefully, you know, that leads you to other and better things. So you can do it, but I think you cannot get through something without a faith tradition or a faith relationship with God. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I certainly couldn't get through days without that relationship that I have, that I cherish. Obviously, Messy Mourning is not a book we're going to sit down and read with our kids, but it's a book. Is it only for moms who have lost a child to a suicide, or is it something that all of us can learn from? Because the chances are our kids may lose a classmate or schoolmate through suicide. I remember I did educational magic shows for 35 years. About 30 years ago, I was at a school, and I remember it very well. It's a school in Rhode Island. And I arrived there, and one of the teachers said, "Oh boy, we lost one of our 10-year-olds committed suicide." And I met the principal a few minutes later. I said, "Hey, listen, I'm really sorry. I heard that one of the kids committed suicide." And he screamed at me, "Kids can't commit suicide. It was an accident." And, I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry you had an accident, and now we know better that it is this cause." We have to be prepared to kind of address this situation, this topic with our kids, because chances are they'll know someone.
They will. Oh yeah. In this day and age, they will. They'll know somebody, or they know somebody that knows somebody. And so I wrote it for moms just because that's my reader tends to be a mom, and I am a mom, but it's written to be like a companion for someone that wants to know how to help a mom. So because a lot of times we don't know what to say or what to do, and how can we be present with, a mother, and how can we help and not hurt? Because well-meaning people say not so well-meaning things sometimes. And, I have a list of those, but that I've over the years, a girlfriend of mine who lost a child and her husband in a tragic accident. We always said we were going to write a book about stupid things people say to you, but it just we laugh and jest but we've learned how to, I came up with a handout or a chapter, like, how can we help? How can we help someone? And then these are practical tips that we can do. So it's written for a mom, but it can be given to a father. Fathers don't read books as much like this, I think. My husband said I wouldn't read that book. I mean, it's laughing because he had quite a few books that people gave him that he never cracked open. So, but I would read excerpts to him, and he was happy with that. It's for a sibling. I have a chapter. It's called "Grieving Would Be Easier If It Was Just Me." Because if I always said, because my husband grieved differently, my daughter grieved differently. So we need to understand that grief is not, it's why it's messy. It's not linear. It's not one size fits all. I use it like, the way I describe it is when my son died, I wanted to clean my son's room up and put everything away, and just like, I needed to have organization. My husband didn't want to go in the room. He didn't want to look at it. And then my daughter just wanted to wear all the clothes that belonged to her brother. So, yeah. So I had a friend who said, it was so sweet. She's like, "I'm going to come out and see you in 2 weeks. Once you have some boxes ready, and we're going to put everything in a box, and you can put them away. And when you're ready, then you can go through them." And so I was so thankful for that. And they're in the attic 9 years later. They're still up there. There's no hurry.
Right.
But they're there, and I know they're in a safe place, right? Yeah.
So that's one way we can help. Can you tell us a couple of other ways we can help if we have a friend or family member that experiences this?
I always thought, a good pastor friend of mine said, a lot of how you help is how close you are to the person who lost a child to suicide. So if you're in their friend group, you definitely want to be right there and helpful, and, show up, provide services. And I'll talk about that. And if you're like more out like acquaintances, then you might want to wait a little bit. And, you can always send a text or an email or a card or something like that, and be available. So the farther out, but you can always pray. So that's the number one thing. Always pray for the families. And then just know that, grief takes a lot longer than we anticipate. Our culture, I think the United States, like, we should be done in a year, but it's not. It lasts a long time. But one of the practical things, this came from my husband, because I'm an independent person. I don't need anyone to help me. And he's like, if somebody asks you to do something, all you're going to say is yes. And so I had to learn to say yes, and not worry that it's going to fit with my diet plan. It's not going to be as clean as I would have it. It's not going to be, because I couldn't function. So the fact that people wanted to do things for me, and I just said yes. I said yes a lot, which was really hard, but I'm so glad I did it, because I was so blessed by what their yeses were to me. And then another thing that's very practical is some people say, "Hey, let me know if you need anything." That's not practical in a way. It sounds nice, But for a person who is grieving in the midst of this fog, they're not going to contact you because they don't know what they need. So how can they let you know? But you could say something like, hey, can I mow your grass on Wednesday, every Wednesday for the next few months? That would be practical. Or, of course, you can always bring a meal, watch kids, water grass or something like that. Or I had this, it was really sweet. I had an armoire I bought on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, that I was using for something. And I had bought it, but then my son died. I don't know how I was going to get it home. I hadn't even, but it came to my mind, and I just said to my friend Brad, can you pick this up for me? He goes, yeah. And he went and got it. And it was like, it would seem so silly at the time, but that was so important to me, and so practical ways. You can be so practical that way. And you're thinking out of the box. I had a friend write me notes every week. She sent just Bible verses and cards, and I still have that stack. Sometimes I didn't read them all, but they're there, and then I could pull them out. So those are some practical ways. Just sitting alongside someone and not saying anything, just being present is very, very helpful, and avoid platitudes. We're well-meaning in our heart. We want to say the right thing, but sometimes it's just being there, is being present is the best way. And being okay to laugh with someone, because we still, like I said, you're a clown, you do that, the clown where it's laughing seems inappropriate, but there's godly laughter, and you need to laugh. And we laugh at the silliest things about our son, and then we cry at the same time, but it's so helpful.
Yeah. You mentioned that you have a collection of, I'll say it, you didn't use the word, dumb things that people say to you. Can you do this? Let's end with a laugh. Can you tell us one of the dumber things that people say?
Well, I would say dumber, but one said to me, marriages fail after a suicide loss. Oh. Like the divorce rate is really high. And I was just like, what? Why are you saying this to me? It was soon after. And I was like, that is not helpful. No. And so I actually wrote a chapter about why marriages don't always have to fail, because it can be very proactive. A traumatic loss can actually draw you closer together. And my husband and I would say our marriage is even closer. It was kind of like my daughter got married soon after. And that was how she was dealing with her grief, at the time. And someone said, oh, you have a son again. And I was like, no, I don't have a son. He doesn't replace my son, right. But those are kind of some of the things that, God needed another angel. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He didn't need it. Or when I mentioned that I was going to slap my son, and they go, you can't do that in heaven. And I was like, yes, I can. God just,
God will give me a dope slap. Just one.
He will. Cause I'm like,
Hey, where can we go to find out more about Messy Mourning, Hope for Mothers Grieving the Loss of a Child to Suicide, and find out more about you, Jackie?
You can go to my website, JackieMBaker.com, and on there you can get access to my Substack. I do a lot of essays on there, photographs, things like that about me. You can also get my book on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, Kindle. You can also, I've seen it at online through Barnes & Noble, Target. It's all those online realtors. You can get it again as well.
Yeah. We've had a really powerful time speaking to the author of Messy Mourning, Hope for Mothers Grieving the Loss of a Child to Suicide. Our guest has been Jackie Baker. Jackie, thanks so very, very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, before we invite our guests into the studio, I want to let you know, around here at Reading with Your Kids, we believe something pretty strongly. Reading is a team sport. Kids fall in love with books when parents, grandparents, teachers, librarians, authors, and communities all come together to get involved. And this fall, we're taking that idea on the road with the Reading with Your Kids Back to School Literacy Tour. We'll be meeting families, educators, and parent leaders, sharing literacy resources, talking about ways to help kids fall in love with reading, and introducing everyone we meet to a fantastic collection of books and authors that have been specially selected to be part of this year's tour. And we would love for you to come out and see us. On Saturday, September 26th, we'll be at the Read for a Reason Book Fair at East Rock Park in New Haven, Connecticut. Then on Wednesday, September 30th, we're headed to beautiful Secaucus, New Jersey for the PTO Today Expo. And on Wednesday, October 7th, you can find us at the PTO Today Expo in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Why are we taking these books on the road? Because somewhere out there, there's a child waiting to find the right story. Maybe it's a funny story. Maybe it's an adventure. Maybe it's a story about kindness, courage, animals, friendship, imagination, science, history, or something wonderfully weird that makes a kid burst out laughing. Sometimes one great book is all that it takes to change the way a child thinks about reading. And we want to help families find those books. So if you're near New Haven, Secaucus, or Oaks, come find the Reading with Your Kids booth. Stop by and say hello. Meet the books we've selected for the tour. Discover some terrific authors. Pick up ideas for making reading something your family looks forward to rather than something kids feel they have to do. Because the goal isn't simply to create kids who can read. We want to create kids who choose to read. Kids who talk about books. Kids who get excited about stories. Kids who see reading as one more way to have fun with the people they love. That's what the Reading with Your Kids Back to School Literacy Tour is all about. September 26th in New Haven, September 30th in Secaucus, October 7th in Oaks. Come on out and see us. We'll see you down the road. Hey, my friends, if you are like so many people I know, one of the favorite parts of your morning is that first quiet cup of coffee before the day gets rolling. And recently, I discovered a company I think a whole lot of our Reading with Your Kids family, you're just going to love it. It's called Afuera Coffee Company. What really caught my attention is that Afuera works directly with local farmers in Central and South America, especially in El Salvador, a nation I adore. And all their beans come from certified Rainforest Alliance farms. So you're not just getting incredible coffee, you're supporting ethical farming and environmental conservation too. And friends, this is not ordinary supermarket coffee. These are specialty, hand-selected beans grown in rich volcanic soil. And you can taste the difference. Smooth, rich, aromatic. Whether you love a bold espresso or a lighter roast, they really do have something for every coffee lover. Another thing I love, their packaging is compostable or recyclable. And 5% of every sale goes to charities that help preserve the great outdoors. Because they're sponsoring Reading with Your Kids, I arranged an exclusive 15% discount for our listeners. Just head on over to afueracoffee.com and use the promo code READ at checkout. And yes, when you use that code, you're also helping support the podcast. So great coffee, helping farmers, helping the planet, and helping Reading with Your Kids. That's a pretty magical combination right there. Join us right now from the wonderful nation of Germany. Our guest is here today to celebrate. His new book is called Camp Counseling Mastery. Please welcome to the show, Paul Curley. Paul, how are you?
Hi, Jed. Thank you so much. I'm really good. It's summer here in Germany. It's July. It's warm. It's not so hot either. It's like 24 degrees, which is about 70 Fahrenheit. And yeah, there's a nice breeze in there. We were currently a full day with the German kids here, and I'm about to light a campfire soon. So we're physically and mentally in camp mode right now, but I do have time to speak with you, Jed. And I want to thank you for having me on and to talk about not just me or the book, but about camp counseling and, yeah, how people might be interested in that lifestyle. And if I can help with your teaching or anything or your counseling, that's fantastic. That's all I want to be able to do. Yeah.
Fantastic. My beautiful wife and I ran a couple of camps when we first met each other. One was they were both day camps, not overnight camps. One was a more typical camp around a lake out in the woods, which was a lot of fun. The other one was very different. It was in a church basement in the inner city of Boston. And we had to be very creative there because all we had was the parking lot and the little bit of grass that ran around the church. And we had to make sure that we didn't have to worry about wild animals coming in. But there were a few folks from the neighborhood we didn't want coming in.
Wow. I mean, I've done day camps and they are a little bit less chaotic than the the overnight camps. I do prefer them. I love day camps. Your classic 9 to 5. I've also been to Boston. I love Boston. I've got family there. So yeah, already a lot in common there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, day camps, of course, it's much easier, whereas overnight, they're certainly more predictable. Like, as I said, I'm about to light a campfire here in about 45 minutes. I have the firelighters ready to go. And yeah, that's not only fun, but you really have to be careful. You know, there's fire involved and there's kids wanting to sing songs, and you're making sure everyone is sitting down and following the procedure. Yes, it's fun. It's a camp activity. It's a fire, but it's organized. We have a station. We have a system for how it's done. Yeah. But I love it. I've been doing it for 10 years, camp counseling, and it's really, really fun. I mean, and that's why I wrote this book, to basically give back. It's kind of like my love letter to not just English teaching, because that's what I'm doing here. That's why I'm in Europe. So I'm teaching English as a foreign language around Italy, France, Germany for the last 10 years. Now I primarily work in Germany, in Bavaria, here in the south of Germany. So Nuremberg, Munich. I love it. And yeah, last year in August, I decided to write the book, and I completed it in April, and I self-published it, and I uploaded it on Amazon KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. And it's been quite a success, and I'm just loving this journey. And so I'm just really grateful that you would have me on to talk about it. And yeah, I'm ready to go in any direction you want after that.
So let's talk about Camp Counseling Mastery. I understand there's a whole lot of great activities in the book.
Yep. Yes, sir. So I have 20 name games in this book. I'll just hold it up for the video viewers. On the back, it says that there's 20 name games. So these name games break the ice with the kids, getting to know each other. It's a fun way of learning each other's names in a non-pressurized way. It's not like, hey, what's your name? It's you're learning the names accidentally through play and through repetition. So you're remembering the games. These games are usually in a circle or outside. You're kind of maybe doing a people bingo quiz, for example. Then I have 50 icebreakers. So 20 name games, 50 icebreakers, 50 language games, 30 conversation games, 30 drama games, 30 outdoor activity games, 25 sports, 10 water games, 25 arts and crafts, 10 calming games to relax them, or if a kid is maybe having a difficult time, these games work excellently for that. And then there are 20 evening activity games. So obviously for the overnight camps, you need that extra kind of, how would you say, camp experience. So those are there to get the best out of overnight camps. Yeah.
It's interesting. We had a global educational expert on about a couple of weeks ago. One of the things he said is in places like the UK, the US, Canada, that we're schoolifying kids at a way too early an age. That the kids going into pre-K and kindergarten are now suddenly expected to sit in their seats and start to learn how to read. And they're not given the chance to play and to socialize and to learn those people skills that I think you're teaching kids at camp. You know, the skills to get along with one another, the skills to take turns, to share, to just enjoy each other's company. So I think that a camp is a super important experience for kids to have.
Yeah, it's literally it's a different sensory environment. The kids are moving a lot, and through movement and fun comes memory, and time flies when you're having fun. So yes, the kids come on Sunday and they leave on Friday, and it comes to Thursday, and I often get the comment of, Paul, I learned so much in this week and I had so much fun in English than I've done since, the last 2-3 months. Now, of course, they're probably exaggerating. They're just being kind. But I think there is a lot to that, because we do pack in a lot of, as I said, language games, icebreakers. They're almost learning accidentally because it is so fun. it's like you're dangling this carrot to distract them.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the side, you're like playing the game with the carrot or whatever it is. And then on the side, they're gaining all this information. So it's like you're tricking them. Hey, we're going to play this fun game. However, in this game, you've learned all of these new vocab words, all of these new nouns, everything. And then at the end of the day, we'll talk through the kids and say, hey, what was your favorite game today? Oh, you really like the toaster game. Perfect. What does a toaster do? Yes. Yeah. And he just remembers everything. And then we write a list of all the vocab they learned, what went well, what didn't go well for them. And I love it because it's hands-on. We do, of course, have our creative writing as well. Maybe you'll give them like a creative folder, like a YouTube channel to fill in, or they have to create like a newspaper article. So there is, of course, some writing-based stuff, which is certainly needed, correct spelling, everything. But the hands-on speaking, forcing it out because I don't speak German, and I'm in Germany teaching English. So it just goes to show it does work if you do use the right body language, the signs, the tone of voice, the slow speaking. All right, everybody in a circle. Perfect. High five. Good. So that's how you would deal with the younger kids. And then with the older ones, of course, you can be a bit faster in speaking, maybe a bit more casual, but still that high professional teaching kind of energy. So because you want to build rapport with them, you might lose them if you're treating them like children or speaking slow or being too campy. So you really have to gauge them, and every group is different. Every personality is different. So I think it's also probably helped me a lot in my social cues. It's like I already know how to handle a specific type of kid already because I have so much experience. It's like, oh, so this kid is that type of kid. Okay, well, he's a bit shy, So I love it. I really enjoy it. But to answer your question, yes, we normally do 1 or 2 week camps. And even in the 1 week camps, you really see the difference. And the parents will email me or the company that I'm working for in a certain period to say, wow, my kid really enjoyed it. He or she'll be back next year. They are already dreaming in their sleep because they'll wake up and they'll tell the parents, oh, like last night I had a dream in English. And that's what you want to do because their subconscious and conscious mind is soaking it up. Yeah.
I'm imagining that there may not be many camp counselors that are listening to this episode, but I bet you there's a lot of teachers, a lot of after school leaders, daycare leaders. I'm sure that a lot of these activities would be applicable in an after school program environment.
For sure. I have cousins who are primary school teachers in Ireland, and I've given them copies, and they're like, oh my God, Paul, like, they were like, why did you call it Camp Counseling Mastery? And it's a good question. It's like, well, I kind of want to, cover all bases with that. They were like, yeah, but like the language games are awesome. I'm using them and they work and they're fun. You see, it's the primary school or secondary school mindset of, oh, well, they have to sit in the chairs. Hey guys, stop talking. Whereas you can actually harness that energy and use that energy to play high energy games, like game shows. Like you think of, you watch the game shows on the American TV, there's some versions of those in the book. Obviously they're changed and we don't use the same name and stuff, but it might be a similar concept. So there's a couple of games in there that would be similar to TV shows that are well known around camps around the world. So that's an idea of a language game that you might find. As you can see in the book, there's games called actions 1 to 10. You write up 10 actions on a blackboard or whiteboard. You have 2 teams and each 2 teams facing off in like a catwalk position. So one on the, let's say, Chicken Nuggets team versus the McDonald's team. Chicken Nuggets, the first row, will be versus each other. So let's say me and you, Jed, are in the front row of the catwalk. And I say a word, hot, or the teacher says hot, then we have to say the opposite. And the fastest person to say the opposite word gets a point for their team. You move to the next row. Okay, up, down. Okay, you from the Chicken Nuggets, you are faster than this person from the McDonald's. Good. So games like that where you're teaching, you can point at your body parts. It's like, point on my head. Head, yes, good. You can say, for example, countries. If you want to go geography, you can say, okay, if I say a city, you say the country. Perfect. London, England. So it's like a kind of quick fire race, and it gets competitive. And as I said, you're harnessing that high energy and putting it into games where they're learning. So there's a lot to be said, as you said, for these games that are not just in my book, but camp counseling games, ESL games. You have basically lots of icebreakers, language games that are super fun. And you can put in any language you want or any topic you want to play that game. Yeah.
Yeah, I know myself. I did educational magic shows for 35 years. And
Yeah.
one of the comments that I heard over and over and over again from teachers is they would say, we've been telling these kids the same thing that you said in your show for the last 6 weeks, and they didn't hear it, but they heard it today.
Exactly. It's like the great Louise Hay. I think the lady who, the popular psychology author, and she said on stage one time, you can go to all of these events. I'm paraphrasing now, don't quote me, but this is basically what she said. She was like, you can go to all these events and you'll meet different people and we'll all be saying the same thing, but you will come to me or someone else and you say, oh, that's great. I've never heard that before. And it's just because it's a different environment, a different thing. They're more receptive maybe. So I do think that unfortunately for teachers, they do get the butt end of the teaching as well. It's like, look, we've been teaching this for so long, but now they finally get it because you or your company or your teaching style has made it click with them. Yeah. So that's what these games are here to do. It's like the German kids are super in terms of they have all of these, like, how would you say, sound effects. They're like, oha, ach so. And it's just the aha moment. It's so cute. But, and yeah, when that's happening, you're like, cool. They get me. I didn't have to explain that game with like, okay, we're going to get in a circle and we're going to do this. You just jump into the game and you play it. It's like, I have the ball. I pass to William. William, you pass to him. And it's like, you just jump in and they're like, so. So less words, speak clear, jump in, no, how would you say, no mincing your words. Just be very, very clear. Yeah. As I said, my throat, sorry. As I said, it's it depends on the environment and the receptivity of the kids. It obviously helps. So that's, again, it depends on the environment. And I could be a good counselor to one kid, and then another counselor could do the game with them, and they might not like my style, but they'll prefer their style. It's very subjective. So you really have to try to present the game in the most fun way possible, or the clearest way, so they can at least understand it. And then hopefully you can do it in a fun way that they appreciate or get a learning outcome from. Yeah.
How did you get into this industry, Paul?
Yeah, good question, Jed. So actually, what I really wanted to travel, and back in 2013, as I said, I went to Boston and New York, and I've been there in the USA and also Dallas, Texas a couple of years ago. But back in 2013, I decided, you know what, I really want to go to the US. So I went to the US from September to November. I did 6 weeks in Boston, 6 weeks in New York, and I loved it, Jed. I was like, wow, I want to stay here, but I can't because I'll be illegal if I overstay my visa. I had a 90-day holiday visa, and I think I did 88 days. But I came back to Ireland and I said, so I want to travel and earn money. And then I realized I could teach English as a foreign language. And I didn't go to the US, but I went to, I went to Italy. So in 2016, I did a TEFL course, a teaching English as a foreign language course. And I applied to a couple of jobs in Italy. And since then, I fell in love in 2016 with teaching English as a foreign language. So I started when I was, like 24, basically. And I've loved it since. I am considering sort of going into maybe a more organization, maybe creating my own. But at the moment, I'm just loving the fact that I can float over to Europe, work with a company, and just do like a 6 to 5 month block from April to September of summer camps / Easter camps / school camps. And yeah, so my first year was in Italy and I loved it. And I said, wow, I should have done more weeks. If I had known this would be this fun, I would have organized a bigger block. I only did like a summer, like 2 months in Italy. So then in 2018 or 17, I booked longer. I think I did 3 months. And then since 2018, 19, 20, 2020, I didn't do camps. There was no camps here due to the COVID out pandemic. And then in 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, I just kept coming back. And now I'm kind of like supervising the camps, organizing them, training staff for companies around Europe. And I love it. I really, really enjoy it. It's addictive. I always say, maybe this will be my last year. But it comes to December and I'm like, Europe would be nice from April to September. And it always is. So that's why I'm doing it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Camp Counseling Mastery and find out a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Jed. You're a gentleman. And I just want to thank you again for all of your time, energy, your fun conversation. And yeah, I wish you a happy summer and a healthy sort of end to the year and everything. But if people do want to get in contact with me, my email is on my book here. It's info@campcounselingmastery.com. Now it's 2 L's for counseling. So camp, C-A-M-P, counseling, COUNSELLING, mastery, MASTERY.com. So campcounselingmastery.com is my website. info@campcounselingmastery.com is my email. And you can find me personally on Instagram with Fresh Day 7. So FERSH Day 7. And then I do have a TikTok solely for the book and promotion. That's just Camp Counseling Mastery. It'll have the same logo as my website and everything. But yeah, I'm happy to basically communicate with anyone who would have any question, regardless of if it's a simple question, if it's an in-depth question, I'm there to answer it, whether it's email, direct message, anything, or through the website. Yeah.
Wonderful. We've had a really fun time speaking to the author of Camp Counseling Mastery, a great book filled with great fun activities for kids. Our guest has been Paul Curley. Hey, Paul, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jed. Have a great afternoon.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. As always, if this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. We'd also love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, @readingwithyourkids on Instagram, @JedleyMagic on X, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids, and our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you are the author of a fantastic children's book, you do want to go to readingwithyourkids.com. You can click on the author's click here button up at the top of the page. Find out how you can be a guest. Being a guest is fun. It's easy. And it gives you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlit fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. Check it out today, readingwithyourkids.com. Want to thank the folks who made today's show wonderful and powerful. Starting with our guest, Jackie Baker. Please be sure to check out Messy Mourning, Hope for Mothers Grieving the Loss of a Child to Suicide. Also want to thank Paul Curley. Please be sure to check out his Camp Counseling Mastery. I want to thank my incredible team, Chris Doherty, Daylene Rose Advina Lopez, Madison Lucchese. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better, more caring, more empathetic place. And thanks for taking the time to give your kids what they need, your attention. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
the sky turns dark and gray, and someone's sunshine slips away. They're walking slow, their head hangs low, and they don't know which way to go. But you might be the light they need, a simple smile, a tiny seed. You can be the color in somebody's gray, a little bit of bright in their cloudy day, a spark, a smile, a helping hand. You've got the power to understand. You don't need magic, you don't need gold, just a heart that's kind of brave and bold. You can be the color, don't you see? A rainbow for someone who needs it to be. It might be words, it might be time, a silly joke, a song, a rhyme, a listening ear, a gentle tear that lets somebody know you're near. The smallest things can shine so bright and turn a shadow into light. You can be the color in somebody's gray, a little bit of hope in their rainy day, a laugh, a hug, a you're okay can chase the darkest clouds away. You don't need wings, you don't need to fly, just look around with caring eyes. You can be the color, strong and true. The world gets brighter because of you. Every heart has storms inside, every tear we try to hide, but kindness shines, it always shows, and grows and grows and grows and grows. We can be the color in somebody's gray, turning tears into a brighter day. Side by side we light the sky with every kind of care and try. No superpowers, just love we share, a little kindness everywhere. We can be the color, me and you, painting the world in brighter hues. Da-da-da-da-da.